As the name implies, green ghost peppers, so my plants absolutely got nailed from the cold weather I've been having lately. Luckily enough, I was able to save the peppers themselves, right? So I have a couple peppers that I'm actually trying to ripen just by setting them next to other ripe peppers, seeing if they ripen on their own. Otherwise, I don't want to wait for these ones to ripen, so green ghost peppers like this are absolutely freaking delicious, dude. They have a good earthiness to them. They have a nice, like, grassy tone to them. Spice level on them is not as bad as when they're fully ripe, right? But they're still spicy. So we're going to be making a green ghost pepper taco sauce. This is a very, very spicy sauce, so you need to either ventilate your kitchen fully, do it when you're home alone, whatever. I'm gonna toss mine on my smoker. Gonna run it at about 250, 275, and I'm gonna smoke all these ingredients for about 2.5 hours, okay? We don't need to do much prep work to these ghost peppers. I'm gonna just toss them on the smoker whole like this, and then just pluck off the stems, and then just make the sauce. I'm not worried about de-seeding them because I'm gonna end up straining the sauce out later on. Grab the tomatillos, give them a wash, right? Quarter them. Bench scraper them into a large mixing bowl. Green bell pepper, just kind of cut these sections out. Cutting around the seeds and the placenta makes your life hell of a lot easier, yeah. No waste, cut the bottom off. Got a little bowl, keep kitchen scraps in. You're gonna toss that in the compost later on. Probably just keep these halves whole like that. They're thin enough that they're gonna smoke pretty much all at the same time. Well, love the flavor of a green bell pepper too. It's gonna add a nice fresh flavor to it, yeah? Cut the top and bottom off. Pretty standard procedure for peeling an onion. Do the bowl. Luckily, it's nice and calm out right now too, so when I fire up that smoker, it's gonna be nice. That root end off too, there's no time to be wasting, so we just lightly smash cloves, remove that paper layer, much easier. Peel it, toss it into the bowl. It's not a good taco sauce unless it has a ton of garlic and cumin in it, and fresh peppers, right? Keyword fresh. All these ingredients, less the peppers and the spices in the bowl. Give it just a little bit of oil, just enough to help the salt stick to the ingredients. As these ingredients cook in the smoker, the salt's gonna draw all that beautiful flavor that the tomatillos have, the bell peppers, the onions, the garlic have, right? It's gonna add a great body to the final sauce, right? The spices that I'm using, I'm gonna hold off until a little bit later on in the cooking process. I'm gonna put the chopped ingredients on this perforated pan and put this perforated pan in the smoker. So let's go outside.
When we're talking about the heat source, I like using lump charcoal. For some good smoky flavor, I like using oak wood splits. I found that using a fire starter underneath the grates works really well for getting this thing nice and ripping hot. While we wait for the smoker to warm up, I'm placing all the ingredients onto that perforated pan, setting a little bit of room aside for the ghost peppers. I'm going to go low and slow on the cooking temperature this time, 225 to 250. Once the smoker is nice and warmed up, place all those ingredients into the smoke chamber. I'm going to let all these ingredients smoke for about 3 to 3.5 hours. It really goes by sight rather than time duration, yeah? Once you get some nice clean smoke going on, I use the side vent and I close it about halfway through to really control the temperature at 225 degrees. Every 45 minutes to 1 hour, I need to add another piece of wood. After the first hour, it's looking like these ingredients are going to need to go a little bit longer. After the 2.5 hour mark, these ingredients are not quite soft yet, so I'm going to let them go for about another hour. Like I said before, it's more about sight and feel rather than a time frame. After about 3.5 hours, this is what the ingredients are going to look like, nice and soft and beautifully brown. So next I put a small stock pot onto a burner, set it to maximum. To that stock pot I'm going to go in with half a cup apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon dried oregano, 1 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon anise, 2 teaspoons paprika. To finish that all off, I go in with half of a teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. Give all those ingredients a nice stir to dissolve in the spices and bring the vinegar up to a simmer. Once the vinegar is simmering, add in the other ingredients. Make sure they're a little bit covered by the vinegar and simmer that for about 2 to 3 minutes. Next, we need to very carefully add all those ingredients with the liquid into a blender. Put a cap on the blender and let it rip on high for about 30 seconds. If it looks like it needs a little bit more liquid to it, you can go ahead and add some water while it's blending until it reaches a nice consistency that you are looking for. Sauce consistency is, of course, personal preference, so add more water to it if you want it a little bit thinner. I, however, do like having a smoother sauce, so I'm going to go ahead and strain mine through a fine mesh strainer, of course having a bowl to catch the good stuff underneath. Using a small ladle, I'm lightly pressing the pulp, allowing the sauce to be strained through. Next we need to get the sauce to taste, and see if we need to adjust the seasoning. I add a little bit more salt and a little bit more freshly cracked black pepper. This of course is all to taste, and you could even add a little bit more vinegar if you feel it needs it. Stir in all those adjustments and give the sauce one final taste. Once the sauce has cooled slightly, go ahead and store it into whatever container you want. Hot sauce bottles, mason jars, whatever it is that you like to use, yeah? This is a sauce that needs to be kept refrigerated, although the pH sits about 3.7. If you want to lower the pH, of course, you want to add a couple more tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This should stay good, and definitely because of the low pH on it, but I doubt it'll last very long because this sauce is freaking delicious.